Well, hello out there, Boomer Time family. So glad to see you. I'm glad you're here. Nancy Cogar here. Today, I'm going to continue our earlier discussion, which was about small businesses, because that is something that impacts millions of boomers out there, maybe you. And it's often an issue when it comes to planning that is ignored or maybe forgotten about. So I want to talk more specifically about what you can do to plan. You worked real hard on this stuff, okay? So maybe there's a way to have someone succeed in your place and you could create some income for the rest of your life moving forward. These are things we need to think about. So I want to talk more about that. But first, I found a few headlines that I wanted to share that I think are important to all of you out there. I know we got all this stuff going on in Washington, but there's some information going towards the end of the year here as it relates to Social Security benefits in the upcoming 2026 season. You will expect to see about a 2.8% cost of living increase in your benefits. This is going to apply starting in January 2026. And it looks like the average benefit would increase by about $56. Not a lot of money, but more than previously as far as the cost of living index is concerned. There are 71 million of you out there that rely on Social Security. So this is an important topic and wanted to make sure that I brought that to your attention. On the same issue, Social Security spousal benefits, when you've got survivor benefits, I get a lot of questions about this. If someone dies, then you apply for survivor benefits, and it increases to whoever had the larger of the two amounts. So this is important to remain aware of these things. Payments will start at 71.5% of any deceased spouse's benefit, assuming that's more than what you're getting. So that's how that works. And with our shutdown going on, it's hard to get answers right now, right? But thought it was important to bring that up. So here's another one. I talk a lot about, available space in nursing homes, cost of nursing homes, all kinds of long-term care. Well, there are some changes afoot that relate to foreign equity providers, for lack of a better way of putting it, investors buying property in the United States. Well, private equity firms are increasingly acquiring nursing homes. And it's important to be aware of this. Always ask who owns a particular facility because it can lead to quality of care issues, can lead to staffing cuts. And, you have someone that's remote that is not, that owns the business but may not be involved in the operations. So just a friendly reminder about that. And I thought that was an interesting story. I can put that on my website, nancycogar.com. At the same time, just one other story I wanted to mention, which should not be a surprise to you. Older adults are increasingly struggling to find affordable housing. That includes renting, accessible units, risk of homelessness. This is all still up in the air. And important to be aware of. And of course, the best action is always to plan. So that's the underlying theme of Boomer Time, right? So I want you to plan and have an A, B, and C plan because I want you to succeed in your older years. Well, we are going to talk about small businesses, which is a huge issue when it comes to boomers, and more specifically, what you can do to plan. Maybe you haven't thought about any of this stuff. I'll talk about it when we come back. Welcome back, Boomer Time family. I am so glad you're here, Nancy Cogar, and we are talking about issues that impact you. I want you to have a great finish in your life, and that means planning. It means tackling issues that are a significant part of your life, protecting you, protecting your assets, having a plan, right? May sound overwhelming, but we take it one step at a time. And that's what we're all about here, because I do not want you to face crises that you could have done something about. Okay, so today we are talking small business succession, or what do you do with your small business you've worked so hard for, your entire life up till now, and you want to retire. Maybe family doesn't want to take it over. Do you just let it peter out, or do you make a plan? And there are options for you. A lot of people don't look at these, and it's important for boomers too. You guys out there, 41% of privately owned small businesses here in the United States are owned by boomers. Okay, that translates to about 12 million businesses nationwide, and those businesses employ 25 million workers. So that's 1 in 6 jobs in the American economy. So I think this is worth a look, okay? Because it not only will impact you, your wealth building, but it will also impact your communities, because that's where you've invested. So 60% of small businesses lack a formal exit plan. And I can tell you here more and more, if you and your estate end up in probate and there is no plan for your business, the court will appoint a receiver to examine the business, run it possibly, and liquidate it for your estate. So you want to have the right to say what happens to your business, right? So I think so, at least. That's the way I feel about my business. So last time we talked about the importance of that, but today I wanted to talk more about what can you do, right? Okay, so let's look at this. And it's important because, I'm always talking about the Silver Tsunami, the aging of America, but it's important because so many boomers out there are aging over 65, that in the next 10 to 15 years, it's expected that 70% of these small businesses will change ownership. Who's going to buy those? Will they buy them? Will they continue? What are the employees going to do? What's going to happen to the communities that benefit from these businesses? Right? So I wanted to, and I'm just looking down here, wanted to talk more specifically about options. And they're not necessarily complicated. At least I don't think so. I do this kind of stuff all the time. So, it's something you can include in your last will and testament. You can include this interest that you own, right? If you're the 100% owner, it's most certainly an asset of your estate. You can include succession plan, disposition, all those types of things in your will. I don't see people doing that very often. You can make a trust, right? You can include it in your trust. What do you want to happen to the business after you're retired? So a trust is different than a will, because a will doesn't take effect until you pass away, but a trust can be active from the moment you sign it moving forward. So you can manage it with the end in sight, right? You can also have a separate agreement. You made an agreement. Hopefully when you created your business, you have an operating agreement, you've got bylaws. Look at a buy and sell agreement, right? This is an asset that's available for your estate, available for your family, available for, charities that you hold near and dear. It's a shame to see when people don't take this into account. So, and it has to happen early. Okay. So the experts say that you need to have a plan in place even 5 years before your desired exit date. So I'm not saying work until you're no longer here. You can incorporate a retirement plan. Perhaps you have an asset agreement and you sell it to someone. Find out how much your business is worth, right? It's got all that elbow grease in there. It's got all the efforts and the service that you've provided the clientele. That all has value. So hire someone. Look to see who you can hire to value your business as an ongoing asset, right? People do that all the time. So find out how much it's worth. Find people that may be interested in purchasing it. Could be over time, could be immediately. It's going to create a liquid asset for you, most likely. and could create some income for you. If you even want to have a silent partner interest moving forward, maybe there's somebody there at your office that's been really dedicated over the years. They might be interested in purchasing it. Maybe you could mentor them. That blesses another person, right? These are the things you have to think about. So all of that can be included in an estate plan. And I don't think people really think about that. So Tennessee, of course, if you have your business as an inheritance, Tennessee doesn't have an inheritance tax. It also doesn't have an income tax. So it could be a benefit if you've got something that's valued under the federal estate tax and can be something that passes as an inheritance. Now, a lot of family members want their business to go to family, but, as far as that's concerned, a lot of people don't want to carry on this family business anymore. We don't see as many, especially at the third generation, wanting to continue that on. It doesn't mean someone wouldn't be interested in purchasing it. It just means you need to think outside the box. So maybe your employees want to buy it. You could come up with a profit share plan over time. There are all kinds of options. And the benefit is there's continuity in the leadership. There's continuity in the day-to-day operations. It protects your assets, right? Protects your family. I'm sure that the business has brought in lots and lots of income over the years, right? Hopefully. And you don't want to have a legal battle with someone who relies on your business, maybe a creditor, customer, employees. Those things can happen. And if you have a plan in place, you can try to avoid a lot of that. And it helps your employees, helps your successors in interest, helps your stakeholders if you've got a board, that they know what's going to happen in the future, right? It gives some confidence to them. And bottom line, of course, it avoids nasty surprises in probate and unplanned taxes. So you don't want a sudden exit. You didn't plan for that. What happens if even you become incapacitated and you can't continue on? You have to have these plans in place. And you would be amazed at how many people I talk to that don't have anything in place. I mentioned the private equity transfers in the headlines. That's something that we may see more of. So why not consider somebody nearby that also has a vested interest in the community that may be interested in purchasing your business? So this is significant. Here in my home state of Tennessee, almost 500,000 people run small businesses. 500,000. And 100,000 of those have employees. So the Tennessee government follows this, and you can look right on the website, tennessee.gov, and you can see these numbers if you're interested in seeing a breakdown. There's more of a breakdown. Over 105,000 are minority-owned businesses. Okay, there's that diversity there, and that's economic wealth building. Almost 200,000 are female-owned businesses, and 60,000 are owned by people that have served this country in the military. It's important to think about the people that are behind the businesses. I know sometimes we've driven down the street, you see the same place on the corner you're so familiar in seeing, and then it's closed down. They got the paper in the windows and it's closed down, and you're like, gee, I wonder what happened. Well, old mama that ran the company till she was 80-something years old passed away. Everybody else has moved away, and there's nobody to run it. So closed up shop. And when you do those kinds of things, you're leaving it to her estate, most likely, if there are no plans in place otherwise, right? And creditors come in, make claims. It's very disruptive. There could have been a plan to do something with that when she was comfortable and ready to pass it on. And I probably wouldn't be surprised if she just continued to do it because she didn't have anybody to pass it on to. And, she cares about her business. I care about my business. I care about serving you. So that's there's an option, folks. That's my main message, that there's an option. So I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I've got some final thoughts. Well, with me, it's never final, but I've got some additional thoughts before we say so long for this time. So I'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to give you some real life examples because that seems to help, right? Okay, so I mentioned I'm a small business owner. What? Nancy, you work at a law firm. Yeah, but I've got my own practice. I've got my own clients. I've got work that I've done over the years. I've got relationships that I have in the community. I've got advocates. I've got the podcast. I've got my knowledge, right? All those things have value. So do I just want to do nothing and just let it pass? Well, I've got people that are relying on me, right, for consistency, for availability, for all those things. So I should plan, right? What kind of things can I do? Well, I can keep good records. I can keep good records of who are my clients, maintain connections with my clients, look and network with other lawyers that are like-minded, right? I can find someone that maybe I mentor over the years that might want to purchase my business, that I would feel comfortable knowing that they would provide the same kind of service to my clients, right? These are all things that I need to think about. What about, some of the manufacturing companies in the area? Well, they may be having liquid value of a couple $1 million, which that's a lot of money. But maybe they have equipment that's so specialized. I see a lot of that around here. Maybe that's worth $20 million, right? It's just not liquidated. So if this person does nothing and the estate has to liquidate all that stuff and liquidate the business, and then you're getting upwards of $24 million, which will trigger federal estate tax issues most certainly. And I'm sure with all the sales and so forth, it will create all kinds of issues related to accounting, capital gains, issues related to, employee succession plans. It's a big fat mess, lack of a better way of putting it. And these are things you need to address. So maybe there's somebody in your firm, in your business, at a college, that's studying these things. So you get their fresh ideas. There's all kinds of things changing with AI and so forth. Maybe you bring them in, expand your business a little bit, and have them in a specific role. It may surprise you. I know sometimes it's not so attractive to think about training somebody from the ground up. So if you have SOPs in place, standard operating procedures, that can make that better too. And that is an asset to your estate and your business, right? I'm speaking to a lot of people out there. May not seem like it, but I am, because only 20 to 30% of business owners who want to sell their companies do so successfully. So the other 80% don't have a clear path, don't have a way to really harvest all the value that they've put in the business over the years. Welcome back, folks. I know I've been taking these breaks, but I'm hoping pretty soon to have some additional information in those break times that could be also helpful to you. If you know someone that's interested in supporting Boomer Time, supporting the podcast, maybe having some information about your own business, give us a call, reach out. I want to make it as helpful to you as possible. So that being said, if you like this video talking about small business succession planning, yes, then like the video, okay? I know I say that a lot, but there's actually a method behind my madness. We've got an algorithm out there that is measuring these things, and more people will see this if you like it. So it helps me, and I'm doing this to help you. So help me help you, right? So do. And then, if you like a particular topic, like that too. Tell me. I want to, like I said, I want to do what's helpful to you. And you can also go to my website, nancycogar.com. I've got lots of resources there. You can contact me there. You can make an appointment there to schedule a strategy session. You can watch other videos. There's lots and lots of stuff there. And I do also plan to put some articles up related to small business succession, both in my own state and then more nationally. So those can help. There's sample templates about what you need to start thinking about when it comes to that kind of business planning. Not only just kind of the tax consequences and the estate planning, but preserving those relationships, that your business developed over time with financial institutions, banks, things like that. Those can be included in a growth plan. And if you're going to sell it to someone, having available credit, having available liquidity is huge. So I just want you to be able to think about these things that you may not be thinking about. So if you start thinking about, I don't know what my business is worth, start a list. Okay, record what you own, record what you owe. They call that assets and liabilities, right? Do you own the real estate? Do you own the equipment? Do you own a product? Do you own trademarks? Do you own accounts? Do you have insurance policies? Do you have valuable real and digital assets? You need to start thinking about these things and then look at, of course, company ownership, contracts, existing contracts. When are those contracts up? Do they need to be renewed? Do they need to be renegotiated? Where are all those records? Something as simple as that, right? That is a huge problem that I see over and over again when people die. No one knows where to find things. So it helps. If you want to do your family a favor, you want to do your employees a favor, give them a gift. Plan for your small business. Okay? Your family, your community, everybody will like you. Well, thank you. And I think it's just makes sense. So, like I said, there are a huge amount of privately held small businesses that are expected to transition ownership in the next decade. It still has to do with that silver tsunami that I'm always talking about, the aging of the boomers. So please give this some thought and reach out. Let me know what you think. Do you have a success story? Love to hear it. Last thing you want is to get something clogged up in court. That's always more expensive. So take control, get it done. So I will see you next time, but I am glad you're here. And like I said, if I haven't covered something that you are curious about, have questions about, reach out, let me know. I'm here for you. So see you next time.